These modern-day bronc busters should have stuck to bull riding. These steeds seem to be more than they can handle.
In the 13th race of the 2024 Supercross season, we have a new points leader. Although, we actually don't. "13 races, 2 red plates, shared between the young phenomenon and perhaps the craftiest and most determined Supercross veteran ever. For the first time since the start of the season, we have a points leader other than Jet Lawrence. But the points leader is still Jet Lawrence. Coming into his rookie Supercross season, having won 5 successive titles, Jet has never been in this pressure cooker of a situation before. Worrying, one would think, to be tied with Cooper Webb, who has. We are now at an unprecedented point in an unprecedented season. Not only have there been 6 winners for the first time in 25 years, never in the history of 16 to 17 race seasons have we had it not at the top 13 races in. Webb's come from behind victories are storied and numerous. Just 2 races previous, for example, when he came through the first turn in Seattle in something like 15th place before clawing his way to the win.
We didn't even mention Cooper Webb's name all day long. Not qualifying practice, not in the heat.
But this time, he won from the front. Cooper signaled his mindset and intent early in the day, qualifying fastest, which he seldom does. His determination was evident from the first untimed session on. Never known as a top qualifier, he qualified on top. There were numerous sidebar stories throughout the night, and great rides by Chase Sexton, Kenny Roczen, and Jason Anderson. But the main story was, of course, the battle between Coop and Jet. Webb has come from behind in a lot of races, but in his 2 championship seasons, he held a commanding lead at this point in the campaign. Jet, likewise, has been in control of each of his 5 championships, and especially the one last summer, his first on a 450. Speaking as someone who spent far too much time on a sunny spring Sunday writing this script, you couldn't write a script like this. The grizzled veteran versus the upstart prepared to inherit the world, but maybe not just yet. It's like a freaking Rocky movie. Eli and Jet both won their respective heat races, with Lawrence passing Webb convincingly along the way. But both would suffer the same start, nearly, in the main. Though Webb controlled the inside, both Eli and Jet were well positioned. But then Tomac closed down on Jet, pinching the points leader into the back of the top 10. After getting bumped around a bit, Jet was out of the top 10 altogether. Tomac, in turn, was pinched by Shane McElrath, who came in hot and tight from an outside gate. Watching it back slowly, you can see that Eli tightens his line, and as he does, the bike loses traction at the rear. Tomac saved the near high side, who was also passed by several riders going into the initial rhythm section. Less than 2 minutes into the main, and Tomac again lost the rear as he spun down in a corner, relegating himself back several more positions, and into a situation where, for a time, Eli led Jet through the mid-pack of the field. 9 minutes into the race, Jet took the toe position over from Tomac. The pass was pivotal for the season, not for the night, as overtaking Tomac retained Jet's now partial hold on the red plate. Another pivotal pass attempt would fall just short at the finish line. Chase Sexton had been trapped in third place behind Kenny Roczen for several laps before finally finding a way to make the pass. Afterwards, he closed on Webb quickly and fell just short when the checkers flew. At the same time, Lawrence was likewise badgering Jason Anderson for fourth, even nearly making contact in the final corner. But his bid for a last lap pass also fell short. Lawrence, finishing fifth, had led 143 laps in the first 12 races, but he wouldn't lead any in Foxborough. By leading wire to wire, Cooper, who had led only 13 laps in a main event all season combined, has now led 36. In just a handful of late mid-season races, Webb has eradicated Lawrence's points lead. Last year's champion, Chase Sexton, was 20 points down coming into Foxborough, but closed that gap to 15. In this topsy-turvy, tumultuous season of Supercross, anything might happen. More surprises undoubtedly remain to be unveiled. The next stop will be only the third race ever held in Nashville. Located on the east bank of Cumberland River, directly across the water from the downtown area, Nissan Stadium is a multi-purpose stadium owned by the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County. It serves as the home field of the Tennessee Titans of the NFL and the Tigers of Tennessee State University. In 1995, then Houston Oilers owner Bud Adams had grown dissatisfied with the aged and aging Astrodome and disenchanted with Houston altogether as the city expressed disinterest in building a new facility. Adams began discussing moving the Oilers with Nashville city officials. The city and the team settling on the Cumberland River building site, a then declining industrial area. Voters approved $144 million in public funding for the project in 1996, opening in 1999. And that's enough kick-the-ball nonsense. The Supercross Series first visited the Music City in 2019, some 2 decades after the stadium had opened. Eli Tomac scored his 4th victory of the season, but not without some qualifying drama. Webb carded a 3rd-place finish on his way to the 2019 title. It was the 14th round of that year's campaign, and it wasn't an easy day for Tomac. With engine problems in his heat, Tomac was pushed into the last-chance qualifier. Eli's engine was smoking in that race as well, but he held on to make the feature and become the first rider in more than 6 years to win a main event after advancing from the LCQ. After making his way to the main, Tomac was the one smoking. He worked his way past early leader Webb before the halfway point of the main and ran away from the field, besting runner-up Blake Baggett by nearly 12 seconds.
It's Eli Tomac coming to the finish line. Eli Tomac will win the first Monster Energy Supercross race in Nashville.
The race wasn't without its drama in the support class either. Then fighting for the 250 title, current 450 rookie Justin Cooper took out current Supercross champion Chase Sexton in the first lap of the race, dropping them both to the tail end of the top 10. Sexton clawed his way back to second by the race's end, with Cooper in third. It was the veteran Martin Davalos in his 99th career start who took his 5th career victory.
Taking them both out in perfect position by Martin Davalos.
Martin Davalos.
Last year, Sexton scored his 5th career win in Nashville, with Eli finishing runner-up and Roczen rounding out the podium.
gains for Chase Sexton. I mean, this was a tough racetrack to jump up and bite you, like we already talked about. He's been struggling with that bike all year. It's been no secret. He rode superbly.
How great is it for him, James?
Great gains for Chase Sexton. I mean, this was a tough racetrack to jump up.
But the race is best remembered for multiple riders who spent the night not in the winner's circle, but in the hospital. On the very first lap of the first 450 heat of the night, Cooper Webb, who had just passed Eli for the lead, pushed the front end and went down hard in a left-hander. Less than a second later, it got even harder when Adam Cincerillo, who had no time to react and nowhere else to go, smashed into the back of Coop's helmet. Webb was slow to get up and was visibly dazed and unsteady on his feet. After being carted off by the Alpine Stars medical crew, Cooper was taken to the hospital. Though concussed, Webb otherwise escaped injury. Still, his Supercross campaign was over, and his time with KTM was growing short. Then, 2/3 of the way into the second heat, Kawasaki's Jason Anderson mistimed a long rhythm section, cross-rutted, and then wound up not only over the handlebars, but laid out on the cement. Like Webb, Anderson would also leave the stadium floor on the back of the Alpine Stars medical mule instead of his bike. And the many ambulance rides weren't over. A then resurgent Justin Barcia had heated up in the second half of last season and had won the preceding event just 1 week previous in East Rutherford. Plus, Bam Bam had actually beaten Sexton to the checkered flag in that second heat race. But his season would also end in Nashville. On the 7th lap of the main, while running inside the top 5, Barcia dragged his front wheel across the lip of a nasty Dragon's back, cartwheeled onto the floor, and out of the series. His collarbone was badly broken. Justin's 66th consecutive start streak, then the longest of anyone in the field, came to an end. Tomac had hole shot the main and led the first half of the race. Sexton shadowed Eli throughout and made his move just past the halfway point to take over the lead. The then 21-point lead in the championship, Tomac didn't give Chase a battle, instead settling in for a nice safe second. With his 5th win of the season and Webb's departure from the series, Sexton slotted into second place in the championship behind only Tomac. Tomac left the Nashville round with the red plate and an 18-point lead in the series. Eli's season would, of course, also end prematurely the very next week in Denver. So, is Jet on the ropes? Will Webb's rope-a-dope lead to a 3rd championship? Time and 4 more races will tell. Jet has the edge in speed and technique, but Webb has the edge in momentum. And though we've basically never seen a 17-race series this tight, this late into a season, history shows that momentum wins more championships than outright speed. Just last season, actually, Eli Tomac and Cooper Webb were tied in points after the 11th round, but neither would go on to win the title. Eventual champion Chase Sexton set 3rd in the points, as he does this year, before attrition played its hand. Chase, like last season, is still very much in this title fight. It's hard to bet against Jet, perhaps the most talented rider ever, certainly the biggest ripple in the Supercross stream since one Jeremy McGrath. But it's equally hard to discount the 2-time champion making one more concerted push towards victory. That could have been Eli Tomac's story this season, but instead it's Webb's. So often discounted, so often a champion in the clutch. Jet Lawrence won 5 of the first 10 races and held a 21-point advantage over the field after sweeping the Indianapolis Triple Crown. Having not won a race since, he still has the points lead, but he also kind of doesn't. Cooper is no longer the closest rider in a rearview mirror where objects are smaller than they appear. Now, Webb's championship hopes loom large. And hey, if you like this video, please like this video. Even better, hit the subscribe button. It's free of charge, and it helps a lot. Meanwhile, thanks for watching this.
All right, Coop, this one's for you. I want a good answer out of this, all right? I have to give a little bit of credit to Steve Mathis. He tweeted that you're the only guy on the line with no jacket on. We know you like some head game sometimes. Is there anything to it?
Yeah, you just gotta jack it off sometimes.
Okay, not the question, the answer I expected, but we'll go with that.
Was a good answer.
It was a good answer.